You know that feeling, right? When the world just shifts under your feet and you have to adapt? Well, today we're diving into how people all over the world are facing down huge challenges. Think climate change, tech disruption. And they're not just getting by. They're actually turning these challenges into some incredible opportunities for creativity. This really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? This quote captures that exact moment that I think we all remember, when everything just went sideways and we had to find a whole new rhythm for our lives. It's really a story about finding freedom in limits and even productivity in the quiet moments. And look, this isn't just one person's story. This is happening everywhere. We're about to see how folks in some really extraordinary situations are finding their own brand of resilience and ingenuity, often in the most unexpected places. So, to really get this, we're going to follow three pretty amazing stories. Let's start with Ravi. He's a farmer in India, and his entire livelihood, everything he has, is being threatened by a drought that just won't quit. And then there's Amina, a single mom in Kenya. For her, the motivation is so clear. She's diving headfirst into the digital world, all to build a better life for her kids. And finally, we have Sophia. She's a designer who's living all across Europe. She's kind of like the new global nomad, constantly trying to balance this amazing freedom with the real instability that comes with always being on the move. So yeah, three very different people facing three massive challenges. So the big question is, how are they actually pulling it off? Well, it really boils down to a whole new way of thinking, a mindset shift that completely changes the game from just surviving to actually thriving. And what's cool is that each one found a totally unique solution. Robbie didn't just sit around waiting for rain. He went out and installed solar-powered pumps. That's a move born from pure necessity. Amina, she jumped onto online courses to teach herself how to code. And Sophia, she's basically turned her luggage into a high-tech mobile studio, using AI and smart devices, the whole Internet of Things, to juggle two jobs while she travels. It's pretty incredible. And Amina is definitely not alone in this. She's part of this huge global wave. I mean, how huge? Get this. On just one of these online learning platforms, in just 1 year, we're talking over 50 million learners like her. Just let that number sink in. That is a massive collective push from people who are determined to build new futures for themselves. But adaptation isn't always about these giant, life-altering changes. Sometimes it's about the small things, right? The clever little hacks in our daily lives that help us find a bit of productivity when everything else feels like chaos. Like, check this out. In São Paulo, a parent got tired of the chore battle and turned it into a fun, point-based game for the kids. Brilliant! And over in Bangkok, a small business owner started using AI chatbots to handle customer questions, which freed them up to launch a whole new side hustle online. These are just fantastic examples of turning everyday stress into something creative and productive. And that parents' game in São Paulo? It might just sound like a cute idea, but it's backed by some serious science. A study from Harvard found that this technique, it's called gamification, can actually boost productivity by a whopping 30%. It just goes to show you, a little bit of creativity can go a really long way. Okay, so this all sounds great, right? Innovation, productivity, creativity. But it does make you wonder, with all this constant pressure to adapt and optimize, is there a hidden cost? What are we giving up along the way? And that brings us to the flip side of the coin. Because all this progress, as amazing as it is, can cast a pretty long shadow, especially when it comes to our families and our social lives. Yeah, the data is pretty sobering. The American Psychological Association found that for mobile workers, people like Sophia, the very lifestyle that gives them so much freedom is also linked to a 25% jump in work-life conflict. That constant hustle is putting a very real strain on their personal lives. So what we're seeing here is a fundamental trade-off. On one side, you have all the good stuff: progress, new skills, more income, cool technology. But on the other side, what's at risk? Well, it's the really human stuff, isn't it? Things like family dinners, neighborhood ties, and just being present with the people you love. And you can see this playing out perfectly in our three stories. Sophia gets her career freedom, but she's missing out on family traditions. Robbie's new tech saves his farm, sure, but it's costing him time with his family. And Amina's incredible hustle to provide for her kids, it comes at the cost of her own much-needed rest and downtime. The source material really doesn't pull any punches here.
It says that this constant chase for more, even when it feels necessary, puts the most fundamental unit of our society, the family, at risk. That's a pretty heavy warning about the hidden price of all this adaptation.
So, what do? We can't just stop progress. But that cost? It feels too high. The real path forward seems to be about finding a balance, a way to bring innovation and preservation together. This is where we get to what you might call the dual art of adaptation. Now, this isn't about choosing old versus new. It's about blending them together. It's about using all these new tools to build our future, while at the same time deliberately protecting the values and the people that keep us grounded. So what does that actually look like? Well, it seems to come down to two key steps. First, you innovate without fear. You embrace the new skills and tech you need to get ahead. But, and this is so important, you also have to preserve intentionally. That means you have to actively protect time for your family, your community, for the traditions that actually give life its meaning. So when you put it all together, here's what we're left with. Research actually shows that our ability to be creative and adaptive is directly tied to how strong our sense of self is. It's all about balancing those new skills with deep-rooted values. Because at the end of the day, real progress isn't about one person winning a race. It's about turning all this disruption into a legacy we can share. Which really just leaves one final question. And this one's for you. In your own life, with your own unique set of challenges and opportunities, how are you reshaping your world?